Hey guys, welcome back. Hey, it's me and Stephanie, and I just figured we'd both get our pillows here and kind of have a little jam session together. So let's hear how she's progressing here.
It's affected him. I don't have anything prepared, so this is just all off the cuff. So, Mark,
Yes.
you're going to have to put your game down.
Sorry, I paused.
Stephanie, why would you invite him? Oh my God, I'm out of here. All right, so this is Mark. Mark, you jerk. What did you do? Oh my goodness. Let's hear what Mark has to say.
So what has been the hardest thing about my surgery this far?
Definitely all the time you were in the hospital. It was just a lot of time with you not feeling well and not being able to be home, or it was hard trying to coordinate all the stuff for the girls going to school and work, and that's definitely the hardest part.
What has been the best part?
Probably you at the hospital all the time.
Seeing you feel happy about your weight loss and feeling at least better about how you look, even if you're not always feeling the best of your health wise.
If we had to do it again, would you support me wanting to do it knowing what we know now?
Yeah, I'd still support you if you wanted to do it. I mean, you've had a lot of complications, but just because you have doesn't mean that you were necessarily going to. And it's something that you wanted to do to be healthier. So,
Let's see, what was your favorite part about me physically before weight loss surgery?
Do you think I'm pretty, Mark?
ever seeing something bad about you?
That's a good answer. You passed. Uh, what is your what is your favorite body part of mine?
Do you think I'm pretty, Mark?
That's really going to be a difficult one. Just, just going to put that out there.
Okay. So,
You can use your imagination on that.
do you have any questions for me?
Yeah, when are you going back in the hospital so I have some time with my girlfriend? Just kidding. That's bad. Okay, so I've been showing you a lot of Stephanie when she's kind of not feeling her best. I'm going to show you something that's going to blow your mind here. Give me 1 second. Okay, here we go. Bam. Oh shit, sorry, wrong picture. Okay, guys, I wanted to show you guys this video because it's just really incredible to see how pretty a person can look when their confidence is at their highest. And in this case, I've never seen Stephanie's confidence so high. Tell me if you think she just has a natural glow about herself. Let's hear what she has to say for her update. And it says here goal on the screen. So I take it that means she's hit in a goal.
Hey guys, it's me, Stephanie. I am coming to you early for some exciting news. This is week 27 and a half, I think. And I am a daily weigher, and this morning I weighed myself, and the scale said 149.2. So that means that I have reached my goal of losing 100 pounds. I have a normal BMI, and I am now at goal. So I will be entering maintenance now, which is just crazy. But I'm happy. I'm really excited. I will include some body shots or just some pictures of myself at the end of this, but I'm just really thrilled and I wanted to come on and share it all with you. So I hope you're all doing well. And I went and saw the surgeon today and I did not get admitted. Freedom! But yeah, I was really surprised. It was just a checkup, but I still have some stuff going on, so I was afraid he was going to admit me, but he didn't, and I'm home, and I'm happy. And I think that's about it. Oh, and other good news, I'll have my G-tube removed in about 2 weeks if all goes well. So can't wait to have that gone. So I hope you're doing well, like I said, and I just wanted to share with you guys. So I'll see you later. Bye.
That is so awesome. Now, listen, I think she had a feeding tube inserted in one of these videos or whatever. I didn't want to stick and show every single video because she kind of went into depth, or in depth. But the cool thing is you guys can check out Chronically Stephanie's channel and you can get all the info. The reason I wanted to show you this was because I wanted to show something positive. And look where I even paused the screen here. She's got this like shit-eating grin or shit-face grin, whatever that's called, right? She's got one of those grins on her face. And look, she looks absolutely adorable. She's 149 pounds, which means there's probably a piece of her that wants to be 139, right? So very, very cool. Why don't you get your shoes on? Let's go for a walk.
My name's Jesse. I like to walk a lot. It helps me feel better about myself. But sometimes I feel like I want to run. Have you ever felt like that? Like you just want to run and run and run away? Well, the truth is running doesn't really get you very far.
I'm overweight, I'm obese, I'm pre-diabetic. What do you want from me? I'm a B cup. I'm the pregnant man emoji. But in 90 days, you're gonna see an incredible change.
Who the hell was that guy? Put some clothes on. Anyway, if you're tired of running, I want you to slow down and take a walk with me. Welcome to Walk Talk Vent.
Hey, let's talk a little bit about the mental clarity that one gets when they walk. You know, at any given moment, you might have an issue with money in your life. You might have an issue with relationships. You might have an issue with your health. And there's a myriad of other issues that you might be dealing with. And sometimes we can multitask, right? In other words, we can work, we can play, we can travel, we can do a lot of things and still take care of these issues. But sometimes we need to go into the battle room, so to speak, and we need to go into our own personal think tank to get rid of some of these problems, some of these issues, some of these hurdles, some of these challenges that we're dealing with. I'm no different. You're no different. Every single person in the world, you think their lives are perfect, but the reality is each and every one of us is dealing with some sort of hurdle in our life. And that's where we as walkers have another advantage, because whether you take a 10-minute walk, a 30-minute walk, or a 2-hour walk, the reality is that by walking, we free our mind to be able to think. We've been walking since the start of time for human beings. Walking is probably the one thing that we all do better than anything else, believe it or not. I mean, even breathing. Some of us have problems breathing, right? Some of us are mouth breathers. What I think you're going to notice is that as you walk, you're able to nose breathe better. I've seen videos on YouTube, and I've also read reports through the years about how people that can naturally breathe through their nose are in better health than mouth breathers. And if you look at mouth breathers, now don't get me wrong, some people have legitimate allergies, but I'm not talking about allergies. Some mouth breathers are mouth breathers simply because they're out of shape. And whenever you're walking, if you're walking with a friend, while I agree that conversation gets stimulated a lot when you're walking, the reality is walking and talking probably isn't as good for you as just walking and breathing and not talking. So occasionally, I might do a voiceover while I'm walking, because the reality is, as you're walking, talking, especially when it's forced, like on a YouTube video, it's probably not always the best thing. sometimes it's good just to internalize the problem or the issue that you're having and get to walking and see if your brain can be stimulated to come up with some options. For example, let's say you were in a money crunch. Is there a way we could see walking as maybe a cheap form of entertainment, right? You can go to the store and you can go shopping for 45 minutes to an hour. That's easy. We've all done that a myriad of times. But wouldn't it be great if you could see a 45-minute walk as entertaining? It's free. It's healthy. It's no different than going to the gym, especially if you only go to the gym 2 or 3 times a week and you can walk every single day. What's great about my plan here, combining walking, drinking water, and avoiding sugar, what's great about it is it really sets the tone for the rest of our lives. Could you imagine if you had all that money back from all those Snickers and Kit Kats and all that candy you've ever eaten? Could you imagine if you had the money back from all those endless 2 liters of Coke or Diet Coke you've ever drinking? To the people at Coca-Cola, I apologize. It might come across as I'm against you, but the reality is you're one of my favorite beverages. But I only have a glass of your product, about 3 or 4 times a year. Now, when I was little, if you would have told me that as an adult, I would only drink soda a handful of times a year, I would have thought the future was kind of boring and bleak. But the reality is, your future is not tied to the sugary beverages you drink. And even you coffee drinkers, you Starbucks addicts out there, can you have Starbucks half the amount of time that you normally do? Can you maybe have your Starbucks but minus the sugar? It's things to contemplate. And if you're having a lot of trouble with money, well, in addition to making walking your favorite sport and your favorite entertainment, drinking water is usually free as well. Go get yourself one of those Brita filters. They come with their own little pitcher. And start drinking water out of your faucet. Start saving money. You don't have to necessarily go and buy bottled water, but one thing I've noticed is bottled water for $2 or $3, you can get like 36 or 48 bottles of it. So, the reality is it's cheaper than Coca-Cola. It's cheaper than coffee for sure. So we're talking, if you take these different things and you add them up, you can save money. You can get healthier. Because if we go out to eat and all we ever do is gain weight, it's going to get expensive sooner or later. You're going to have to start missing work to go to the doctor. You're going to have to start to get on prescriptions for things that you don't want, I'm glad that there's medications for people with high blood pressure, and I'm glad that there's medications for people that are dealing with, cholesterol issues. I'm glad that there's doctors. God bless the physician, right? But the reality is, they've got plenty of stuff to do without you. You don't have to be clogging up the doctor's office. Look, remember the 94% rule? 94% of people don't care. But that doesn't mean you shouldn't. So, what I want you to do is for today's walk, don't think about the physical aspect. Let's think about the mental aspect. What are some things in your life that you need to improve? Is it your money? Is it your relationships? Is it your health? By walking, you're stimulating more blood to your brain than you do when you're sitting. And you've been sitting a lot the past couple years. Otherwise, you wouldn't be walking with me now. So let's take advantage of the walk. Let's figure a way where this could be your think tank every day. You can work on things like finances during your walk. You can work on things like relationships during your walk. You can have your own personal strategy. You can strategize by yourself. And you know what? Usually, You're going to be agreeing with yourself that, yes, this is a good plan. Hey, this person that I like, they haven't been reaching out to me. They've been ghosting me. Well, instead of reaching out to them and trying to get them to call you, why don't you ghost them? Show them that, maybe they're not so important in your life. And a lot of times, you'll find out that things change. And when you're not so interested in them, a lot of times they'll be more interested in you. It's really interesting. The best way to get somebody to like you is to pretend like you don't give 2 cents about them. Go about your life. Improve yourself. Because, as much as I hate to say it, the world is not going to change. The world is probably going to get more and more challenging, the route that we're taking. So what we have to do is we have to take a different route. So put your shoes on, put the candy bar away, grab a bottle of water, go out your door, let's go for a walk. I work from home. I'm a recruiter. I try to recruit teachers for schools that are in need. Sometimes a teacher might leave for maternity leave, or sometimes they take ill, or sometimes they pass away, or they move, and the school's in a pinch. So recruiters like me reach out to folks on Indeed and LinkedIn, and we try to find out if they're maybe available to take over a role from now till the end of the school year and possibly into the next school year, And that's what I do for a living. But I'm not very good at it. We live in a different world where a lot of the schools that I'm trying to fill needs for might be in the inner cities of Chicago or LA or New York. And it poses a problem that I never really had growing up in the suburbs of Arizona. And that problem is sometimes the teachers are flat out scared and terrified of the kids they have to teach. When I was growing up, you had a natural respect, not fear, but natural respect of your teachers. And you did have a little bit of a fear that they would send you to the principal's office. But these kids nowadays, they're backed up by the principal, whereas their teacher isn't. And so a lot of teachers leave the profession. They're leaving the profession in droves. And it's a sad statement. Hey, you know how people talk about that maybe we're in assimilation? Check this out. Let's count the houses right here. This was Banff Road that we just passed. So here's one house. This is interesting. This is sometimes where I think that maybe we are in assimilation. So we're passing one house. Check this out. Here's house number 2. Keep in mind, we just went from Banff Road. Banff is a straight road that goes straight down that way, basically from east to west. Okay? So we've just passed house number 2. This is house number 3. A nice, I don't know, is that a coffee with cream colored home, right? Now, we're going to go again, we're going to walk by the last house before we hit Country Gables Drive. Excuse me. This is probably the only Navy house that you'll ever see in your life. It's the only Navy house I've ever seen. Navy blue. I like it. But I'm not saying I would choose that color. I would probably go with the regular, gray or beige color that normal houses in Arizona have. But I like the navy blue. So we just hit the last house. 4 houses that we went by. Now we're going to go down one street heading west. Keep in mind, we went through 4 houses and we went through it in maybe 45 seconds to a minute. This trips me out. Here, we're coming up to a street called Mauna Loa where we're going to head back the way we just came from. Keep in mind, we just came this way, 4 houses. Now we're going to go back the way we came from. This house smells herbal. I think they sell marijuana from this house. We're gonna go back this way. Here's one house that we're going to pass. Keep in mind, we came down 4 houses this way. So here's one house that we're going to pass. And here's house number 2, right? So when I'm thinking if down 4 houses, back 2, I'm thinking that, right here, there should be Banff Road, the street that we passed. Here's house number 3. We're going to cross the street, and now we're going to head west. So keep in mind, we came up 4 houses, turned a street, went back 3 houses, and now we're going to head west down a road that goes parallel with Banff, but it goes parallel, yet bends in towards Banff Road. This trips me out every time because I feel like this is part of a simulation, even though I know it's not. I'm sure if I was up in a helicopter and came and viewed down, I'm sure I would see the reality of my folly. But the reality is, when you're walking it, you can't help but notice this. At least I couldn't. And it only took me 2 or 3 times before I was aware of it. So check this out. We're walking down. Hey, good morning.
Good morning, how are you?
Good, how are you? It's already getting warm. Very warm. I'm gonna have to take off my jacket again. Arizona's really tough. You want to be able to enjoy all 4 seasons, but we only have hot and mildly cold, even though I moan and complain about it half the time. So we're coming up to a park called Banff Park. Now keep in mind, from Banff Road, which runs right along Banff Park, we came down 4 houses, cut in 1 street, came back 3 houses. Now we're walking. This trips me out. This park, based on the route that we just took, should only be a couple of feet across. Should only be like 1 or 2 houses across. Yet, Banff Road is way down there. Way down there. How is that possible? We're going to walk across now. We're in the park. Keep in mind, we walked over 4 houses, walked back 3, and now we've got this giant park here between Banff Road and us. Makes absolutely no sense. Here's one house. 3 plus 1, we should be at Banff Road right now. Banff Road is another 4 or 5 houses this way. Makes absolutely no sense. I'm not going to take the path. I'm going to just try to walk straight to Banff to give you an idea. So we were at Banff Road. Banff, in case you want to look at it on a map, B-A-N-F-F. We're going to walk by a house that my mom and I rented when I was like 4 and 5 years old. I had a real nightmare situation where her boyfriend at the time started beating her up when I was 5. And I had to run. I had to run to the neighbor's house, knocking on the door at like 1 or 2 in the morning as a 5-year-old. Okay, those are kids screaming like they were in trouble, but they were just having fun with each other, I promise. So, once again, here's what I don't understand. And I'm walking literally towards the house that I used to, me and my mom used to rent when I was 4 or 5 years old. I'll show it to you. So, that's the house right there. That white house. So, this is Banff Road. This makes absolutely no sense to me. How can you go 4 houses down, 3 houses in, and then still be 7 houses away? You know, that makes no sense. Is that part of the simulation? Probably not. But it really makes no sense. How do you walk down 4 houses and then have to walk back down 11 houses to reach the road you just passed? It's really, really trippy. But anyway, you know what's more trippy? How the hell are you going to get through this inflation crunch? Cereal, $6, $7, $8 a box when it used to be $3 or $4. Gas? God, gas is cheap right now because it's only $4 a gallon, right? Like, holy moly. I remember when gas was like, $1.50, $2.50 a gallon, right? And when it would get up to $3, we would all moan. Unless you're in California. If you're in California, God, I really wish you guys would change some things about yourself. Case in point, when you go to Disneyland, my God, I went to Disneyland about 20 years ago with my family. And I remember about halfway through our day, we stopped at their little burger joint in Disneyland. And the burger with fries and a drink was just like this outrageous amount of money. I think it was like 18, 19 bucks. And that was 20 years ago. I mean, could you imagine trying to feed a family of 4 and it cost you $100 after you just spent hundreds of dollars getting into that park? And then if you're not familiar with it, they have like all these, at least back then, they had all these things where you could cut to the front of the line, yada, yada. Like, seriously, I didn't even find it very enjoyable. But at the end of the evening there, they threw up fireworks, and that was kind of cool. You know, we love Disneyland. As a people, we love Disneyland. But I don't think Walt Disney would be very happy with how much his company milks people. Because they do. They milk people. They're expecting you to go down there and literally drop $3 or $4 grand. And maybe that's okay with some people that can afford it. But when you can afford things, you should always try to empathize and remember folks that can't. And I think it's a shame that we live in a world where, you know, I'd say a good 3 out of 4 people can't afford to go to a place like Disneyland. And I would put myself in that category. If I went now, I'd probably ditch the kids and just go by myself. So here's my rhetorical question for you to ponder. What's your hurdle? What's your hurdle that you're working with? If it's not too personable, maybe share it down in the comments. I can guarantee you one thing. Whether you walk listening to me or any other YouTuber, and even if you put the phone away and just walk, you'll start to solve some problems in your life. Again, the problems we were discussing with finances, with health and diet, with relationships. A lot of times you just need to go into your own personal think tank, which I like to call our daily walk, and you just have to kind of think, what are the pros and cons of this particular action that I'm contemplating? Because when we don't go into our think tank, and we don't think about these things, we make stupid decisions, which makes sense. We're not perfect, we're fallible. But you want to know how to change some of those bad decisions we make? Is just to ponder them a little bit longer than what we normally do. We normally live in a very reactive society. Somebody does something to you, and you naturally react. Now, that reaction might be positive, it might be negative, it might be neither here nor there, but we react. It is better to be proactive. You know? In other words, we can't predict the future, but we can have a game plan for different situations. You know, what am I going to do if Nancy cheats on me? What am I going to do if Bob leaves me? What am I going to do if my boss fires me? What am I going to do if I can't pay this bill and I lose my car? You know, a lot of times we freak out and just, hey, I guess I'll just have to go without food. I need a car. Well, not necessarily. You know, what you could do is you could take the cost of that car payment, the cost of that insurance, which, by the way, everyone tells me insurance prices are going through the roof, which makes sense because cars are through the roof, right? But what we could do is we could make a decision. Hey, is my work a straight shot from me? Is that something where I could go get a monthly bus pass and maybe save money so that I could buy the car outright? Now, I know a lot of people are thinking, I will never be able to buy a car outright, Jesse. Hey, I'm in that same boat. Cars are expensive. But that's exactly why, if you take a $600 car payment, you take a $200 insurance payment, let's not forget about the $300 worth of gas that you have to put in it every month. Let's not forget about the oil changes and the maintenance, right? If we were to take all those monies, probably equates to $1,000 a month just to have a car. A monthly bus pass? I don't know, what is that, $60? That sounds to me like the bus pass is the way to go. Well, I take different routes. It would take me 8 hours to get to work. Yeah. So let me ask you this. What if you took an Uber every single day? Well, Jesse, that's kind of expensive. It'll be $20 there, $20 back, $40 a day. That's where you got to pull out the old calculator, see what makes sense. What if you went to your boss, told them about your problems, assuming your boss cares, which again, most don't? Would he be open to you working a hybrid role where maybe you could go to work in an Uber 2 or 3 days a week, work from home 2 or 3 days a week? Yeah, might be something to ponder, right? What if we could carpool? What if we found out that we had a friend that works with us that lives in the neighborhood? What if you drive 2 days a week, they drive 3 days a week, and to make up for that day that they drive, maybe you give them $5 or $6 or $10 a week for gas, right? You know, that could really save some wear and tear on your car. Because the wear and tear that leads to a catastrophic, fix that's needed in a car, right? Your car breaks down, you need to fix it. Those are the things where people go broke. Think about that. Found a walker. Look at that. Walking his dog. The dog's really walking him. You know, they say that the dog you choose is a reflection of your inner self. So you got a big guy with a tiny little chihuahua. What that means is that he comes across as a small little meek person, but we know deep down there's a chihuahua ready to just explode. Right? That's how it is. That's exactly how it is. Have you been doing extra credit? If you're walking already, do some extra credit, guys. You know, there's nothing stopping you from walking to the grocery store every day for your groceries as opposed to going once a week and just buying everything, right? Driving your car to work, driving your car to Costco, buying 1 million rolls of toilet paper that you don't really need. You validate it by saying, well, disease X is coming. Disease X is going to come, but what we need to do is we need to be our healthiest. We know nobody's walking, so even when disease X happens, I expect you to still walk. I really do. Just kind of blows me away that, we live in a world or in a country, I should say, where like 3/4 of us are obese and overweight, according to the news. I mean, that's good. It means none of us are starving. It means we're fat cats living well, right? The American fat cats living well. But the reality is, when you're overweight, you're not necessarily living well. Now, there's videos out there with body positivity, right? Where there's no such thing as being overweight and out of shape, right? You're big, you're beautiful. And I agree. You're big, you're beautiful. But that's because beauty comes from within, not outward appearances. The reason we walk is for mental clarity along with the physical. Because I believe that if you're overweight and you're not feeling good physically, you're probably not your best mentally either. So that might be something for you to ponder. Maybe you should walk not for losing weight at all, but simply for the mental aspect of clarity and trying to make better decisions with your life. And I mean, you should take a walk for everything. If you're considering doing a refi on the house, if you're considering doing a home equity line of credit, those are things that people jump into, and they jump into them for silly reasons. Well, I thought if I took some money out of my home's equity, I thought I could use it to buy a car, or I could do this, that, and the other. And a lot of times, because we jump to a conclusion or we jump to an idea, we end up making bad decisions. You should really take a week's worth of walks. Contemplate all the pros, contemplate all the cons. Really decide if it's the right thing for you to do. And that's where I think you should ask your friends for advice, but you don't copy the advice that they took. Because remember, misery loves company, and a lot of times people give bad advice on purpose. My thought is, be your own, shoulder to cry on. Be your own think tank. Nobody knows your life except for you. I just know that you can make better decisions about your life if you take the time to contemplate the pros and cons. Hey, by the way, what did you think of our little simulation walk there? Am I crazy? Am I full of it? I just thought that was weird. That you could have one way that you walk to a street and it's 3 houses down and it only takes you 45 seconds. But then when you walk back, it takes you 2.5 minutes. It doesn't make any sense to me, And if it doesn't make sense to me, I find those things interesting. I want it to make sense. Well, in that case, it's not really a life or death situation. But what's interesting is these walks, half an hour a day, every time you walk with me, it gives you the ability to drink your Coca-Cola, knowing that you already killed off the calories that it takes to absorb that Coca-Cola. Coca-Cola. That's what we should call it. Coca-Cola. Kayla's a pretty name for a girl. Maybe you're pregnant and you're contemplating the name of your child. Let's go with Coca-Cola. Yeah. Hi, puppy.